Curious Tales presents "1464, Northumberland. The Red Rose and the White Rose would clash for control of England's most northerly county. The boy who witnessed the Battle of Hexham, 1464. Thomas, a 10-year-old boy, living just outside Hexham in Northumberland. It's the year 1464 and England is torn apart by civil war. Our two protagonists in this tale, the Duke of Somerset and Baron Montague. The battle for Hexham wasn't the most famous battle, but it did shape England's future. It ensured that the north of England, for now, was Yorkist, but it didn't last. Thomas had never seen a real battle before, but rumours were spreading. The soldiers were coming. The Lancastrians were near, led by the fierce Duke of Somerset. Like most boys his age, Thomas was thrilled by the arrival of the soldiers. The clinking of armour, the glint of polished steel, the sound of horses. It was all like something from the stories his grandfather used to tell. Just a mile from his family's cottage, the soldiers had pitched their tents in a wide grassy field. Flags fluttered in the breeze, campfires crackled, men sharpened swords and told loud laughing tales. Thomas had an idea. "I'm going to catch a couple of rabbits and take them down to the soldiers' camp," he said to his mates. With small hands clutching the rabbits tightly, he's made his way to the camp. His heart thumped, half from nerves, but half from excitement of seeing the soldiers. The soldiers looked surprised at first, but then one of them smiled. "We know what we got here," he said. "Bringing us supper, lad." Thomas nodded and shyly handed over the rabbits. The soldiers laughed and clapped Thomas on the back. "Yeah, lad, sit yourself down," one of them said. Thomas joined them round their fire. Before he went home, Thomas listened to the soldiers' tales. They told of battles fought in snow and mud, of narrow escapes, and comrades they had to leave behind. Thomas walked home that night with the cat keeping him company. He looked down at his wee cat, who hoped the lads are going to be alright in the days to come. While Thomas listened by the fire, hidden eyes were watching. Yorkist scouts had found the camp. They crept back through the woods under the cover of night, silent and swift, and by dawn they had reported everything to their commander, John Neville, Lord Montague. The Lancastrians had made a mistake. They believed themselves safe, nestled near the river, with no threat around for miles. But the Yorkists had been marching quietly for days, moving faster than expected, and now they knew exactly where to strike. Thomas was jolted awake by the sound of screaming and shouting, horses' hooves. What's that?" he exclaimed. First light on May the 15th, the Yorkist army descended from the forest, swift, deadly. Lancastrian camp erupted in chaos. Men stumbled from their tents, grabbing weapons. Horses reared, trumpets blared, all too late. "Bloody hell, lads, what's going on? Grab your stuff." Thomas ran as fast as his legs would carry him, along the lane, up the hill. He had to see what was happening with his new friends. On and on he ran. Thomas watched as Somerset's men were butchered. Some dived into the fast-flowing river and drowned. Others were cut down where they stood. The young man had seen nothing like it before. Montague's forces surged forward, infantry pushing through the trees, cavalry charging from higher ground. The Lancastrians barely formed a line. Disorganised, still half asleep, many fled without fight. Others tried to hold ground, but were quickly overwhelmed. When the shouting stopped and the clash of steel gave way to silence, Thomas stood, frozen, heart pounding in his chest. The battle had ended. The fields lay still, and then came the hardest part of all. He walked carefully through the wreckage, past the fallen and discarded shields. The red rose banners lay crumpled in the mud. He was looking for them, the soldiers who had shared his fire and their bread and their stories. "Jackie! Jackie, man, where are you?" There was no answering call. The only sound he heard was the crows and the rustling of the wind. In the days that followed the battle, the Yorkers' victory was absolute, and swift justice followed. Captured leaders were taken not to distant prisons, but to the very heart of Hexham itself. There in the market square, where villagers usually traded wool and grain, a different kind of business was carried out. Among the condemned was the Duke of Somerset, once a powerful commander and one of the last champions of the Red Rose. He had fought for Lancaster in nearly every major battle of the war, Towton, Wakefield, and now Hexham, but there would be no more battles for him. On May the 17th, 1464, just 2 days after the battle, Somerset was executed by beheading. Alongside him, other Lancastrian knights and nobles met the same fate, quickly, without trial. There was no room for mercy. To the Yorkists, this was not just punishment, this was a message. The war might not be over, but resistance would no longer be tolerated. And so, with the scaffold stained with blood and the fields still fresh with battle, Hexham became both graveyard and a warning. The old world of Lancaster was dying, one sword stroke at a time. As for Thomas, he heard about the executions. He didn't go to see them. The whispers came, names spoken in hushed doors. "Oh man, they've killed Somerset. Grey, they're hanging the lot of them." Thomas didn't understand all of it. Not the politics, not the shifting loyalties, not why men who laughed by firelight one night were gone the next. Thomas never forgot the soldiers who were kind to him that night. He went down to the tree and placed a red rose. He did that every year until the day he died. As time went by and Thomas grew older, he added a white rose to the red. After all, men were men no matter what colour they fought for. Many years passed, the kings changed, the roses faded, new wars came, and old ones were forgotten by most. But Thomas remembered. He lived a quiet life, not far from where it all happened. He became a father, a grandfather, and a storyteller. And sometimes, when the sky turned the colour of ash and gold, he would sit beneath the same old tree above the battlefield and watch the wind move through the grass. One afternoon, Thomas came to rest against the tree, as he always did. The sun was warm on his face, a gentle breeze tugged at the edge of his coat, and his eyes fluttered closed, and he smiled. In that final moment, the wind brought back the voices, familiar ones, laughter around a campfire, the kind of voices of soldiers who had once shared bread and stories with a boy who had brought them rabbits. They had come for him, one last time, and Thomas, the boy who had witnessed Hexham, closed his eyes and followed them into history.